All right, we back. Week 1 of the college football season. Denmark and Marsh. Still in Denmark, Graham Marsh. There's still about 8.5 minutes left in the game. But we might as well go live. Tramel Jones is in the game, and the offense is doing their thing. Defense, hopefully they can hang on to a shutout. And we want to watch the end of the LSU Clemson game. So
that's right.
Twin, what's happening?
Probably the rest of you. So
yeah. What's happening, Twin?
Dude, look. First drive was sick. Bryce Thornton scoop and score. Get right back, Jaden Ball running down their throats. Love that. Jaden Ball, it's very clear, is going to be one of the best running backs in the SEC and the country. Jacoby Jackson doing his thing. I mean, Dylan, they're playing a high school team. There's only so many takeaways, right? I mean, Long Island might lose to Reigns, dude.
That's what Higgins said. Yeah.
I mean, this is not a college football team, right? That they're playing. So there's only so much you can take away. I'm not gonna change my any preseason thought I had based on what I saw out there. Now, Dylan, I think we can go ahead and get into probably the main thing that I think everybody's going to have opinions on, want to talk about, what have you. Lagway in the offense, the running game was fine, but I mean, you got pretty much you're returning basically your whole offensive line and your backs. And again, you're playing high schoolers. So of course you're going to run the ball well, right? I mean, you and I probably could have gotten 3 yards of carry tonight. Lagway in the passing game was rusty at first, right? First couple drives, it seemed like they weren't trying to throw the ball downfield a whole lot. And when they were, it just wasn't clicking. They weren't on the same page. It's almost like DJ Lagway hasn't played any football since the bowl game, right? He was pretty damn rusty, and he doesn't look 100% healthy yet. He looks about 85, 90%, but he doesn't look totally himself yet. I think that's just going to come with time. Dylan, my biggest takeaway, I think more than anything, watching really that first half, because that's when the people that are going to play a lot during the season played, was thank God Florida didn't play a big boy today. Agree or disagree?
100%. I was listening to the Gator Radio Network, and right as they were going to halftime and Tate Casey interviewed Billy Napier, he's like, it was sloppy in the first half. Long Island had 10 tackles for loss in the first half alone. That's alarming. The offensive line wasn't playing well. And
those weren't on that many runs, by the way.
No, it was
Lagway got sacked probably 2 or 3 times at least.
Yeah, let me pull up the number right now. See what they. Let's see. I don't have sacks right now on ESPN. But it was just sloppy. And it's not. I'm not too alarmed by it. I mean, we all know that South Florida comes to town next week, and South Florida played well against Boise. Everybody's kind of tripping about how good South Florida played. They didn't play as well as the score indicated if you watch the game, and we'll get into that. And we'll get into that in about 10 minutes.
I agree.
The offensive line was just sloppy, and it's hard to get up for a game when I mean, let's be honest. There is not a single person that's on Long Island's team that's going to make an NFL roster. And when you know that you're
a person on Long Island's team that would make Florida's roster.
No. Yeah. And when you know that when you're going into the game and you know that you are clearly better than the team up and down, it's hard to get up for a team like that. And I'm not making an excuse. It sounds like I am. But I'm not tripping. It was a little alarming, but more of the offensive line was the biggest worry for me tonight.
In pass pro.
Yes.
In run blocking, they were fine. When they were able to get upfield, hand the ball to number 13 and number 24, and they were getting ahead of steam and leaning, that the offensive line looked great. But I do agree with you. Pass pro was shaky at times, and Lagway's rhythm and timing with his receivers was shaky at times. But again, we shouldn't be super surprised by that, right? Lagway missed all of spring. He missed most of fall camp. And by the way, the run where Lagway came in last year and really ignited that spark, and they ripped off 4 straight, beat LSU, beat Ole Miss, beat Florida State, won the bowl game. His 2 favorite receivers are no longer on the team. That's part of this that I don't think we've talked about enough, Dylan, and I don't think generally speaking has been brought up enough. Badger and DK were his favorite go-to guys, and they're both gone. And now he's going to be relying on J. Michael Sturdivant, Eugene Wilson, as we saw tonight, probably Vernell Brown III. I imagine Dallas Wilson once he gets healthy and in the fold. These guys are all really good players, but they have not played any football that matters with DJ Lagway. So that's going to come with time. But how much time you going to have, man? LSU Baton Rouge is week 3, bro.
2 weeks from today.
I mean, this ain't the NFL where you got a month of preseason to play and you can get everything together. That's why I really hated that Dallas Wilson couldn't play tonight. And Aiden Mizell couldn't play either, because these dudes need reps with Lagway, man. Like, these are going to be the guys you're relying on. And Lagway himself needs reps. I mean, I get it, like, especially once he threw that third touchdown to Sturdivant. What a throw, by the way, before half. That was an unbelievable throw. I wasn't super shocked. Once he threw that, I'm like, all right, he ain't coming back in the second half. They're not going to see him play. But if they did, I wouldn't have been upset about it. Strictly, I get the health. I totally understand. But strictly for the fact that this dude needs to play football, man. Like, they need reps, dude. And these guys and these receivers, they need reps with him. It was clear how off page they were. I mean, the first pass he tried to complete to Sturdivant, they were completely not on the same page. Eugene Wilson, I mean, but before he caught the touchdown pass was a great route and throw, and that was great. But before that, kind of same old story with Eugene Wilson. Like, great player, obviously, but they're not really doing a whole lot other than screens with him. They're never getting him down the field, and they finally started to, like I was saying. But I just think they need reps, Dylan. I think USF is going to tell us a lot and how that game looks, because I agree with you. The game wasn't as much of an ass whooping as the score would indicate. I mean, they beat Boise State handily, don't get me wrong, but I agree with you that it was a little bit misleading because the last kind of quarter of the game, it really just got away from Boise, and there was kind of like 10 to 14 spot points there. But if it's halftime next week, Dylan, and it's 17-14 or it's 14-14 and it's tied up, there's going to be some panic buttons to start. Maybe not panic, but some worry buttons to push.
Yeah, it would not surprise me if next week at halftime it's a one possession game. It wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yeah.
South Florida, for the ones I'm sure most people have seen by now, South Florida in the first quarter had 3 total yards. They had an 80-yard touchdown drive. They were going to punt. They went 3 and out deep in their own territory. They got bailed out by a face mask. I continued the drive and went on and scored a touchdown. They had a 50-yard punt, a fake punt for a pass. That was the backup quarterback from St. Augustine, oh, by the way, who scored a touchdown. And Boise, they didn't play well. Boise had 3 turnovers. And give, credit to South Florida. But that's a lot of things that went their way, in order for them to do that. I don't think that's going to happen with Florida next week, obviously. But South Florida's quarterback can run, which is a threat, which it's like I told you when we talked 2 weeks ago. I had the notion, and I could be wrong, but I felt like Florida fans just felt like we could just show up against South Florida next week and just win by 40 and then, move on to the gauntlet of the SEC. And I was like, no, I think Florida's going to have to show them perform and play well against them. And we saw South Florida played, relatively well the other day, and Florida has to perform and play well next Saturday.
Totally agree. I do think the main thing that USF is really going to have practically no answer for is Jaden Ball and Jacoby Jackson. I think that we're going to live in a world where midway through that third quarter, once we get into the fourth quarter, that D line is going to be tapped out, I think. And Florida's going to start to really be able to run the ball. And then hopefully by that point, that's even with Florida being up, in an ideal world, they're up 21 plus at that point too. All that said, I'm just worried about this passing game and its rhythm, man. Because we know how well DJ Lagway can throw the ball down the field. We know that his right arm was blessed by God himself. We all get that. But the intermediate throws, the ones that are all based on rhythm and timing and being in the right spot and throwing it in the exact window at the right time, those got to be there. If we're expecting the Heisman caliber quarterback that we think DJ Lagway can and should be, those are going to have to come. It can't just be a screen or a 60-yard bomb every time. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's they just got to get this timing down. And for the most part, again, last year, what they were really able to capture with Lagway is they were obviously running the ball super well. So they have that ground and pound game right in your face. Badger oftentimes was able to take the top off the defense. He was your down the field guy. And then Chim DK ate people alive in the middle of the field, and he and Lagway had a really good rhythm and rapport. Who is that guy going to be? I'm really curious. Is that Vernell Brown III? Is that J. Michael Sturdivant? Can that be Eugene Wilson? Who is that guy that is going to, okay, it's 3rd and 6. I need somebody to go win one-on-one and get me 10. It's 3rd and 10. I need somebody to go get me 12. We love the deep ball. We love running the ball. We love the screen game when it works. But that intermediate route is where it needs to be, or that intermediate zone is where we need to figure something out, I think.
Yeah. Shout out Rob. Missed you. Been a while since he's been
Rob,
on the guy. Lightweight can't do anything with his offense. Should have gotten an OC. We talked about this a lot last year. Billy Napier was not going to get an OC. He's going to be the OC. He's going to be the one calling the plays.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't really have an opinion on that. I mean, he wasn't the way that the season went a year ago, and
Rob, Dylan and I agree with you, but it's not going to happen, and it never was going to happen.
I don't even think it was never an option.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I agree with you with a lot of having the intermediate. By the way, LSU they scored a touchdown pending an extra point to tie it up 10 apiece.
This is why we did the show now, so we could catch the end of this game.
Yeah. And LSU, I mean, there's a lot of good games, man. And
what a great day. I know we're talking Gators here, Dylan, but what an unbelievable day of college football, dude.
Yeah. The home field advantage matters, man.
Yeah, especially week 1, dude. Especially week 1 when operationally being clean and things like that is a thing of concern. Going on the road to a hostile environment week 1 is really, really tough, man.
I mean, this is what we've learned today. We've learned that Florida's going to take some time with their quarterback and receivers. Florida State is, a top 15 team now because we're going to freak out. Alabama sucks, and Arch Manning is the next Treon Harris. Yes or yes?
It was so funny, man. Like, and I get it. Look, he didn't play well. He missed some throws and whatnot, and they get all that. But it was crazy, man. He must have missed one throw, and the internet was eating him alive.
Oh
and it
my
was
God.
like,
you know what's going to happen.
Smelled blood in the water. Everybody had their Twitter fingers ready, and they're like, "Oh, he missed one throw. This guy sucks. He's so overhyped. He's terrible." You knew that was going to happen, dude.
It's how the internet is, man. Everybody builds up one way, and then if it doesn't work out the way you think it is, he's terrible. And I mean, dude, this guy's first career college start, and he went into Columbus. One thing I'll say about Texas, quick thought: we're gonna know what this team's like on the road, dude. They went to Columbus today. They go to Gainesville in a couple weeks, and they go to Athens after us.
That
is,
man.
Yeah, that's going to be brutal.
That's brutal.
But Arch Manning's going to find his way. Sark's going to – dude, I mean, for all the people that were naysaying, about what, Sark and what the offense could have done, what could they have done? It felt like every route they ran, by and large, was covered. Like, there was nothing there.
Yeah, I was like I get people were killing him, and he of course missed throws. Like, I totally get that he did, but I think people are forgetting that he played the defending national champion and – other than his own defense, the best defense in college football.
Yeah, and everyone's talking about the talent that Ohio State lost. True. Texas had 12 guys drafted in April.
Mm-hmm.
They had to replace a lot as well. So it's week 1. 12 teams are going to make the playoff. They're both going to be fine. And then Florida State at home.
I know, crazy, dude, crazy.
I was pretty shocked at how well they played, man.
I was shocked. Look, you're not going to find me saying many positive things about Florida State, so I'm not going to continue now. The main takeaway I had from that game, Dylan, I know we just talked about not wanting to kill Arch Manning too early. Ty Simpson he's terrible. I mean, he looked awful. And hopefully he picked – well, not hopefully because I don't want Bama to succeed, but for his own sake, hopefully he succeeds and figures it out. But, I mean, Dylan, I'm sure you saw it was like a 4th and 7. They're on FSU's side of the field. They're going and they got some momentum. They're trying to score. I think they were down 14 at that point, chance to make it 7. He does a great job spinning out of danger in the pocket, and he breaks contain. He gets to the left side. He needs about 7 yards to get a first down. He's got 10-plus yards ahead of him to run and get the first. He throws it like basically in the dirt in front of Ryan Williams, and Ryan Williams had pretty much no chance to catch the ball. I'm like, what the hell are you doing? And Jesse Palmer on the broadcast was like, I don't know why he didn't just run the ball there. I mean, if he gets that first down, I'm not saying they definitely win the game, but if he gets that first down, it makes the last 5 minutes a lot more interesting.
Yeah, the main surprise for me was FSU had over 200 yards rushing. That was Bama's not more physical than FSU. I mean, if you had asked, I think a lot of sports fans, I think they would have told you might be close at half, but Bama's going to run away with it the second half. They're just going to be better, and their big guys are going to be better than FSU's big guys, and then they'll take care of it.
And Bama was Florida State was finishing runs too. Like that physicality of they were getting, 4 to 5 yards, and then the back was lowering the shoulder and getting 1 or 2 more, and the linemen were pushing. They play well, man. Give them their credit. It's a long season. I still don't think that roster is very good. I think they're going to end up struggling. But I think mid-season, the conversation about Florida State is going to be much different than it is tonight. But whatever. Props. I mean, Thomas Castellanos talked his shit, and they backed it up. So, whatever. Back to the Gators, Dylan. Can we talk about a positive? Vernell Brown III is going to be a special, special football player in Gainesville. I mean, this dude's unbelievable.
Yeah. I think what he did today, I think that's what we thought Dallas Wilson would have done had he played today.
I don't disagree. And porque no los dos.
What?
Why not both?
Man, there's only one ball. I mean, we're talking about these receivers, and I agree that the speed that everybody has on the outside, only one ball to go around. I'm going to be interested to see who. I think we'll start to see next week who's going to be the go-to guy, because Florida's going to have a little bit of competition next week.
Yeah, I do agree with you. It's interesting you brought up there's only one ball point, because we have talked about so often how deep this wide receiver room is. But I do think once everybody's healthy and in the fold, that is a good point, because we may have briefly talked about this when we did our show a couple weeks ago, but I think especially next week, and then really for sure once they're in Death Valley down in Coral Gables and start playing the real big boys. But between – let's just assume everyone has a clean bill of health and they're all playing. Dallas Wilson, Vernell Brown III, J. Michael Sturdivant, Eugene Wilson III, Aiden Mizell. Am I missing anybody? I mean, Tank Hawkins isn't really part of the main crew, but it's really those 5, right? Yeah. They're the main dudes that we're expecting potentially. And I don't think Nashawn Montgomery is going to do a whole lot this year necessarily. It's really those 5 dudes. Out of those 5, there's going to be probably 2 that you're going to look up at halftime in Baton Rouge and be like, I haven't heard his name called once, right? Maybe they're not playing a lot, not getting the ball a lot, what have you. So I agree with you that I am really curious to see who kind of rises above in that fold. You have to imagine Sturdivant and Wilson are going to continue to be a pretty big parts of the offense because they're the ones with experience.
Eugene Wilson, that is.
Eugene Wilson, yes. Between Dallas Wilson and Vernell Brown III, I agree with you. It's probably going to end up being like one or the other that's a consistent contributor. But with Vernell Brown III returning punts, you're still getting something out of them, even if Dallas Wilson is the one giving you more production at receiver. I think, Dylan, because I still think Dallas Wilson, once he's back, is going to be a significant contributor on this football team. Those two receivers are one of, if not the most things to be excited about on this team.
Yeah, 100%. Those guys are electric, and I feel like for the first time in a long time, Florida has a lot of options on the outside that are home run hitters. It felt like for a long time it was like you had one, maybe two. It feels like all the guys that you listed can go the distance, and we saw a lot tonight. Not that Florida was showing a lot against Long Island, but they went empty a couple of times. Now, granted, it was with Hanson at tight end, and sometimes they motioned the back out ball, and he went out, being the X receiver all the way far to the left side. That's something we haven't seen. Usually it's, you're having a back end, a tight end with a 3 receiver set. I wonder moving forward if that's something, even a 4 receiver set, if that's something that Florida's going to do a lot. Probably not next week, but, moving forward once we get into LSU and Miami.
I think you got to think of it, and we've talked about this before. I think you have to think of it as you put the shoe on the other foot. If I'm a defensive coordinator and I'm playing against Florida, what do I not want them to do? What scares me the most? And what scares me the most, Dylan, is 4 wide receivers that all have a ton of speed with an offensive line that did not play well tonight. And we talked about that some, and we can probably talk about that more. But in a perfect world, should be better and get their mojo back and what have you, because they're pretty much all returning. And then Jaden Barr, Jacoby Jackson in the backfield. That, if I'm a defensive coordinator, that keeps me up at night on a Friday night before a football game. That makes me worried. Now, no disrespect. I like Hayden Hanson, Tony Livingston, good player, good person. They're all great. They're not the ones really – I'm not super worried, right? Now, I obviously sometimes in heavier packages and whatnot, you're going to utilize your tie. I get all that, but we're not exactly trotting Kyle Pitts out there, right? You get what I'm saying?
No. Or Kadarius Toney.
Yeah.
2 guys that are insanely electric. Apparently, the Gators scored another touchdown.
In a perfect world, I think this group of offensive playmakers they have is best suited to get guys in space as much as possible. I want defenses stretched sideline to sideline. And obviously you're going to run the ball a lot with your 2 backs and force people to pay attention to that and force people to have 6, 7, 8 people in the box. And now we're spreading it out and we got speed all over the place.
I think why they did a lot of that today is because probably they knew that it was a weakness, going in camp in the last couple of weeks, and then you just try it on against Long Island. It's not like you're experimenting a lot of these things, and you're not that they haven't practiced it a lot, but that you're going to beat this team to sleep. So let's get this involved now, before we start running with the schedule that we have.
Yeah, I agree with that. Can you pull up Rob's comment real quick? His last one
about which one, the most recent one, or
no, this one. Well, if you're a D coordinator, relax, relax, because Billy will not use his studs to go teeth at it. Unfortunately, Rob, I can so see it now. I can so see it's it's 3rd and 4 in Baton Rouge. They're showing the stadium pulse with the sign, and people are going crazy. And it's a drop by Tony Livingston. That makes Florida. I can so see it.
I mean, there was nothing better than when you and me going to the Miami game last year, and we're paying $250 for a ticket to watch Arlis Boardingham go across the middle. God.
I'm sorry, I've buried the lead on this whole show. I really only want to do the podcast tonight to ask you, when the hell is Taylor Speartoe going to get back in the game?
Oh, jeez, man. Let's see. We got some offensive line. We already hit on that. Yeah. Long Island had 10 tackles for loss in the first half. Not good. It is a concern. Kearney, the kid from Orange Park was playing guard. I don't know if that's the projected lineup moving forward. Because I know in high school he was a tackle. I know he was listed on the roster as a tackle, if I'm not mistaken. His first year or two at Florida. Yeah, the offensive line wasn't good, and Napier said at halftime, they played sloppy, and it was definitely clear.
But part of it too, and stop me if you've heard this before, because I was thinking about it, as you said it, and we kept talking through it. I was thinking about it a little bit more. Some of those were sacks, those tackles for losses, but some of them were also bad play calls, Dylan. There were a couple of those tackles for losses that were on like first and second downs towards the goal line. And to me, it was pretty obvious that Long Island was sending a bunch of people up because they know that they can't match Florida mano a mano in the red zone trying to stop the run. They know they can't. So they were obviously sending extra guys. And multiple times pre-snap, I could tell they're in that pistol formation. I know Lagway's going to turn it immediately behind him and hand the ball off. And I'm like, dude, check out of this. Like, can we get lateral? Can we get horizontal and get a jet sweep going? Or can we get, maybe a fake and a throw out to the flat because it's going to be wide open? Like, why is that not in the bag? I don't understand that. That doesn't feel like that's not something they're keeping in their back pocket for LSU. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a check to a throw to the flat. Like, that's nothing fancy. But why is that? Is that because Lagway hasn't played a lot and can't? Did you notice that at all in some of those plays, like first and second and goal on like the 3-yard line?
It felt like they were trying to force some plays.
Yes.
Like, instead of it was like Napier's calling a play. We're just going to run this play instead of checking out, see what they're doing, and then do what we usually do.
That's exactly what I'm saying. It's like it's almost like he wanted to prove, like, I don't care if they rush 20 guys, like we're running this ball up the middle or whatever. So like part of it, I agree with Rob and you saying it earlier, like the offense. I'm not telling you the offensive line, played a fantastic game. They need to be better, absolutely. But there were a couple where I didn't love the play calling. Now the sacks, a couple times, different guys on the line just straight up got beat. And I'm sorry, but again, you're playing high schoolers, dude. You just can't get beat. Again, if it's the LSU game and it's Harold Perkins, like, okay, it's like Harold Perkins, he's gonna win a couple times a game. Like you kind of gotta live with that. If it's Miami, if it's one of the other tough games on the schedule, okay, like you get beat every now and again, sucks, but like that's part of the game. Long Island's defensive ends are not exactly Khalil Mack, Dylan.
No.
Like that was a little worrisome. I will give people that for sure. It's not like a panic button or anything, but it is kind of just like a thing to keep your eye on. And if this continues into USF, then it's time to really worry about the line and why it's looking like that. Because everyone's returning. That should be like the best unit on the team. So
yeah, that should be easy. Smack missing those 2 field goals. Are you concerned about him moving forward?
Trey Smack is kind of weird, isn't he?
Yeah.
It feels like when it's 50 plus, he's absolute money. And then when it's like 35 yards, he misses. Yeah, a little. I've normally liked Trey Smack a lot, but man, when in a game, in one of these big time games, man, where 3 points or 6 points or what have you can be the difference, I can't have my kicker missing 40-yarders, dude.
I will say, if you make 2 or 3 next week, we don't remember. We never remember this.
I agree. I agree with you.
Moving on, but next week, if you miss 1 or 2, it's like we have a problem.
Yeah, we're back to the Jim McElwain days where the football team's making tweets asking for people on campus to come try out for kicker.
Yeah,
I mean but like seriously, like I'm being funny, but like I agree with you. Like, you can't miss 2 chip shots, man.
Yeah, especially when you know that you can make it from 60 and any kick within 40 is you feel like is an automatic.
And apparently one was a bad hold. I saw some people talk about that. The second one that he missed was a bad hold. Apparently, I don't really know what a bad hold looks like. I'm going to be perfectly honest, unless it's like straight up on the like horizontal on the ground. I don't really know what a bad hold looks like. I'll be totally real there. That said, he still missed 2 kicks, right? And at least one of them wasn't a bad hold. So, and it's not like special teams has never been an issue for Billy Napier before. So,
Dude, they didn't have 12 men on the field today, unlike what they had against Tennessee, LSU, and in the bowl game. Now, granted, nobody remembers 2 of those 3 because they won those games. Everybody remembers Tennessee because they lost that game. Kind of goes to what we're talking about.
Yeah. So, but that said, Dylan, with those things happening, I know it wasn't as much of an issue today, but back to what I said in the beginning because of the Lagway stuff, but just generally speaking, I'm just really glad they didn't play a big boy today. So many teams had big time matchups today, and I know Florida has had their fair share of those in the last few years with, playing Utah early when they played Michigan early that one year. And I'm really glad that was not us today because I don't know that this would be a very pleasant podcast if that were the case.
No, and I agree with you. Had they played Miami today, I wouldn't be feeling good. Most important thing is everybody's relatively healthy. Hopefully Banks can come back good to go. He was in a boot. He was on the sideline, didn't play today. Trayon Webb is expected to come back for the SEC opener because you're going to need those guys. Not so much next week, but when you're LSU moving forward. And I'm not tripping. It wasn't good today, but it's your first game. You get on the grass, week 1. Correct the mistakes. You're playing a decent opponent next week in USF, a team you should probably beat by 20. Not that it should happen early, but you should wear that team out in the second half. And then you move on from there.
Last thing for me, question, would you have liked to see the starters play longer than they did, like a little bit more into the second half, or did you think it was
what are you going to get out of it?
Most people disagree with me on this. I think I'm kind of on an island here. I would have liked them to play more. And I get the injury risk. I totally understand. But when the operation throwing the ball down the field looks that unclean, I just think they need more reps, man. And I think, like, what better time under the lights against a team that's terrible? If you make mistakes, like, it's not like they're going to lose the game. Like, there's not really a better time to simulate everything you need to simulate getting to the big time games coming up. Now, I am someone that thinks like NFL players should play way more in the preseason than they do. So this is kind of just more of like a general concept for me that I think I'm kind of out on an island on this. I totally get like risking injury. I understand that, but like players get hurt in warmups, dude.
Yeah, with me, it's not injury. It's, dude, I mean, they did it how many times today, and it's like, okay, it wasn't going to work. Like, put a box, tie the bow, move on. That's kind of more my thinking. I can understand how you're different, but I mean, they try to do this how many times, and it didn't work. It's like that sometimes.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of think against Long Island, if it's not working, you beat your head against the same wall until it does.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're going to see the film, and Lagway and Shane Matthews brought this up when they went to half. The offense played sloppy. They had the offensive line gave up 10 TFLs, tackles for loss, and there were some reads that Lagway didn't hit. So he obviously knows what he's talking about. He's been a quarterback, and he's got the best seat in the house with the view that he's got doing the play-by-play. Do that, move on, and everybody's healthy.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, they still won by 100. The defense looked amazing.
Yes, defense was good.
I mean, I don't know how much of that was the defense being. I mean, I do think Florida has a good defense, but Long Island's offense was one of the most hideous things I've ever seen in my life. I mean, what the hell was that? They're trotting out 3 different quarterbacks each drive, and it was ugly, ugly, ugly football to watch.
One of them was from Baldwin, New York. Shout out.
Oh, yeah.
Baldwin, New York, and the other was from Clearwater. He's about 5'11".
Baldwin, New York, and Baldwin, Florida, basically the same.
Same thing. I mean, close your eyes, same place. Both places have 3 stoplights in town. So, yeah, that'll do it. We got about a minute left in the third quarter between LSU Clemson. So I'm going to go back on the couch over here where I spent the last 10 hours of my day. And we'll do this again next Saturday. What time do the Gators play?
Next week? What time is it? I want to say 4. Let me.
Chat, help us out.
What's up?
Said chat, help us out. I know somebody knows. Gators. We have a final 55-0. 4:15 SEC Network next week.
4:15. Okay, cool.
4 p.m. ish. They have same difference. 4 p.m. ish. 4:15. I'm sure the game before Florida plays on SEC Network, it'll be like 5 overtimes, and then they'll be like the alternate like they had to do today. So yeah, have your ESPN app ready.
Let's close on this, Dylan, because we have our thoughts and whatever. But the Florida Gators won a football game today. That's cause for celebration.
Poor shot.
So give a cheer for the orange and blue, waving forever, forever pride of old Florida. May she droop never. So sing a song for the flag today. Cheer for the team and play. On to the goal, we'll fight away for Florida. All right. See y'all next week.
Peace.